He was a man whose riches seemed endless, his wealth rising higher than the tallest mountains, reaching toward the skies. With him, there was no limit to what I could have owned. Every dream of luxury, every jewel, every treasure of the world was within his hands, ready to be placed at my feet. He offered me the world wrapped in diamonds, shining with brilliance, as though he could buy happiness with gold and glitter. But my heart longed for something different, something his wealth could never provide. Diamonds sparkle, but they do not embrace you when you are lonely. Gold shines, but it cannot whisper warmth into your soul when the night feels heavy. The world he laid before me was beautiful, but it was also hollow. For I yearned for a love that would last beyond riches, beyond time, beyond even life itself. My soul whispered softly, telling me that what I desired was not fortune, but a love eternal, one that could touch me so deeply that no jewel could ever compare. I wanted a heart that beat in rhythm with mine, a presence that would stay through storms, through darkness, through silence. True love is the only wealth that never fades, the only treasure that cannot be stolen, the only light that never dims. And so, while he had everything the world could give, I longed for the one thing money could never buy, a love that touched my soul forever. I am Emily Parker, a young schoolteacher in the charming town of Charleston. My life was woven with simplicity, like a soft melody played in the stillness of dawn. I spent my days among books and eager young minds, teaching lessons of words and numbers while quietly nurturing dreams of love, belonging, and a life filled with meaning. My heart was tender, innocent, and easily moved by the beauty of little things, the laughter of children, the whisper of the sea breeze, the golden glow of the setting sun. For a long time, my world was calm and untroubled, like a gentle stream flowing steadily through the countryside. I believed my path was certain, my days predictable, and my destiny already written in the quiet rhythms of ordinary life. Yet, as often happens, fate does not ask what we are ready for. It comes like a storm, sweeping away the familiar, and forcing us to choose between comfort and courage, between fear and love. Suddenly, I found myself standing at the edge of choices that could change everything I had ever known. Tender heart longed for safety, yet it also yearned for something greater, something that would stir my soul and awaken dreams too deep to ignore. The storm was not meant to destroy me, but to guide me, to test the strength of my love and the depth of my courage. And so, I stepped into the unknown, where destiny was waiting to write a new chapter of my life. William Hayes, a powerful business tycoon, entered my life with a charm as polished as his words. His voice carried the weight of promises, each one wrapped in the glitter of wealth and the grandeur of success. He spoke of carriages made of gold, symbols of a life where luxury would never end. He painted pictures of mansions so tall they seemed to kiss the very clouds, homes built not just of stone and glass, but of prestige and pride. Every word he spoke shimmered like crystal, dazzling to the ear, tempting to the heart. He promised me a life that sparkled like glass under the sun, beautiful, flawless, and enviable to anyone who looked upon it. His world was filled with brilliance, yet there was something fragile in the shine. For glass, though it glitters, is also breakable. Behind the golden carriages and cloud-touched mansions, I felt an emptiness, a silence that wealth could not hide. My soul longed for something more enduring than glitter. I craved a love that would not shatter like glass, a devotion stronger than the tallest mansions, a tenderness richer than gold itself. While his promises were grand, they echoed like hollow music in a vast room. Beautiful but without warmth. What I sought was not a life built upon riches, but a heart that would walk beside mine in both light and shadow. For true love, unlike glass, does not break, it only grows more radiant with time. His mansion was a place that seemed to belong to another world. As I walked through its vast halls, my eyes were caught by chandeliers that sparkled like constellations scattered across the night sky. Their brilliance filled the rooms with a glow so grand that it almost felt unreal. Beneath my feet stretched marble floors, smooth and gleaming, resembling frozen oceans that captured the stillness of time itself. Every detail whispered of elegance, of wealth carefully displayed in stone and light, of a life sculpted to appear perfect. And yet, despite the beauty, an emptiness lingered. The walls stood tall, but they held no laughter. The chandeliers shone, but they illuminated no joy. Every room was cloaked in silence, a silence that pressed against my heart like an invisible weight. It was in that silence I realized how easily riches can lose their warmth. Even gold, so radiant and eternal in its shine, can feel cold when untouched by love, by voices, by the music of a living soul. The mansion was grand but lonely, magnificent but hollow. Its silence was not peace, but absence. The absence of shared moments, of whispered confessions, of love's gentle presence that turns a house into a home. In that stillness, I understood that beauty without love is like a frozen ocean, dazzling, yet lifeless. For what my heart longed for was not chandeliers or marble, but the warmth of a hand in mine, a voice breaking the silence, a love to make even silence sing. What my heart desired was never wrapped in riches or crowned with splendor. I did not long for crowns that gleamed with power, nor for silks that draped like rivers of luxury, nor for jewels that glittered with empty brilliance. Those things, though dazzling to the eyes, could never touch the soul. What I wanted was something far more simple, yet infinitely more precious. A love that breathed softly in the silence of the night. I longed for the gentle whisper of love. Words spoken not for show, but for truth. A whisper in the darkness that told me I was cherished, even when no one else could hear. For it is in those quiet moments, when the world is asleep, that the heart speaks its deepest truths. And I wanted those truths spoken to me, not with wealth, but with sincerity. I yearned for hands that held mine, not with pride or possession, but with tenderness. Hands that did not claim me as a trophy, but embraced me as a partner, equal and beloved. Such a touch holds more warmth than all the silks in the world, more strength than crowns, more light than jewels. What I sought was not a kingdom of gold, but a kingdom of hearts, two souls bound in love, walking together through the storms and the calm. For true love needs no throne, no jewels, no silks. It needs only presence, honesty, and hands that never let go. Then came Daniel Brooks, a man so different from the glittering world I had known. He was not a tycoon draped in riches, nor a master of polished promises. He was a local musician, humble in his ways, with calloused hands that told the story of hard work and endless practice. His eyes, though gentle, carried a depth that no jewel could ever match. They spoke of kindness, of sincerity, of a soul untainted by greed or pride. Daniel owned no mansions, no carriages, no treasures that could be weighed or counted. Yet, what he possessed was something far more enduring. The power to move hearts with music. When his fingers touched the strings of his guitar, the air filled with a melody that seemed to rise from the very soul of love itself. His songs were not just notes. They were confessions, prayers, and dreams woven into sound. Each chord carried warmth. Each lyric whispered truths that wealth could never speak. In his music, I heard promises without words, devotion without diamonds, eternity without crowns. His guitar sang in a language that needed no translation, the language of love. It was a melody no amount of money could ever compose, for true music is born not from riches, but from the heart. And in Daniel's simple songs, I discovered a richness beyond gold, a treasure beyond time, the gift of love pure and unbroken, a love that sang directly to my soul. When Daniel's hand touched mine, something within the world shifted. It was as if time itself slowed, wrapping us in a moment too precious to measure. His touch was not grand or adorned with jewels, but it carried a warmth that no crown or fortune could ever provide. With the gentle clasp of his hand, the noise of the world faded, and suddenly everything around us felt softer, kinder, and more alive. The stars above seemed closer, like silent witnesses leaning in to watch a love blooming quietly under their light. The night, which once held only shadows, now glowed with meaning and promise. The air itself felt richer, filled with the unspoken language of two souls beginning to intertwine. Every simple thing, a breeze, a heartbeat, a glance, was transformed into something extraordinary because his hand was holding mine. Though our pockets were empty, I felt wealthier than I had ever been. For true richness does not come from gold or marble halls, but from the joy of belonging, from the security of being seen and cherished. In his presence, poverty held no fear, for love itself became our treasure, our comfort, our eternal flame. Daniel gave me a gift that the richest man could never offer, the feeling of being deeply, tenderly alive. And in that moment I knew, love's greatest fortune is not counted in coins, but in the quiet miracle of two hands finding each other in the dark and refusing to let go. William stood before me, his voice firm yet touched with pride, as if he could not understand why I would ever turn away from him. With a certainty born from power and wealth, he asked, "Emily, why refuse me? I can give you everything." His words echoed through the silence, heavy with the belief that gold and grandeur could build the foundation of love. To him, riches were the answer, the key to every locked heart. I met his eyes that carried ambition but not tenderness, and in that moment I knew my answer. Slowly, softly, yet with a strength that came from the deepest part of my soul, I whispered back, "Everything is nothing, William, without love." My words were simple, but they carried the truth that no fortune could erase. For what is everything when the heart remains untouched? Mansions lose their warmth, jewels lose their shine, and crowns lose their weight when they are not carried by love. True wealth is not measured in gold, but in the kindness of touch, the sincerity of words, and the devotion of a heart that beats for another. William could offer me the world, wrapped in diamonds and glory, but the world without love is an empty place. And so I chose not his empire, but the eternal richness of love, the treasure that endures when castles crumble, when jewels fade, when all else is gone. For only love turns nothing into everything. Barefoot, I walked away from the grandness of William's glittering mansion. The marble floors that once gleamed beneath my feet now felt cold, empty, and distant. I left behind the echo of riches, the endless halls filled with silence, the golden chandeliers that sparkled but never warmed the heart. Each step I took was a farewell to a life that looked perfect on the outside but was hollow within. I walked away not in regret, but in quiet freedom, my bare feet touching the earth as if returning to something real. Ahead of me waited Daniel, the man whose love needed no diamonds to shine. When he opened his arms, I stepped into a world where music replaced luxury, and tenderness replaced power. His guitar sang softly as he held me close, each note wrapping around me like a promise. In his embrace I found a love that no wealth could imitate. There were no crowns, no carriages, no glittering jewels. Only the warmth of two hearts beating together in rhythm. His kisses were worth more than any crown. His love more precious than any jewel. The world around us was simple, yet it glowed with a beauty that money could never buy. In that moment I realized that true richness comes not from what we possess, but from who we love. And as I rested in Daniel's arms, I finally understood. I had left behind gold, but I had found forever. With Daniel, life became beautifully simple, yet endlessly rich in ways the world could never measure. I wore no silk gowns or diamond jewels, but I was wrapped in something far more precious, his devotion. His love surrounded me like a soft blanket on a cold night, steady and warm. We did not sleep upon gold or beneath the weight of luxury, but upon dreams woven from faith, tenderness, and hope. Our mornings were not filled with the shimmer of wealth, but with sunlight that felt like love itself, gentle, golden, and pure. I had once been offered a kingdom of riches, but I chose the humble path of love instead. I traded glitter for grace, and in that surrender, I found something eternal. Love's poverty was not emptiness. It was fullness beyond measure. It was having little yet feeling as though I owned the entire world. For true love does not need to shine loudly like gold. It glows softly like a flame that never dies. Its light is quiet, yet it reaches deeper than any jewel's sparkle. In Daniel's arms I did not hold treasures or crowns. I held peace, wholeness, and forever. His embrace became my universe, vast and endless, where every heartbeat was a star and every breath was a promise. In choosing love I discovered eternity, not in time but in feeling. For when two hearts beat as one, even the smallest moment becomes infinite.